Hello, welcome to Press Talk on Television Nigerian. And on Press Talk, we get the views and opinions of journalists as they analyze topical issues that made headlines across the media. I am your host for today, Samuel Akpan, and with me on Press Talk is Silvanus Akwe. Silvanus, welcome to Press Talk.
Thank you for having me.
And also is Peggy Shandy. Peggy Shandy, welcome to Press Talk.
Thank you very much.
Okay, today we'll be giving you the crisis still rocking the All Progressive Congress. We'll do that after this quick break. Stay with us. And use bless. Welcome back. Now to the main issue of the day, the crisis rocking the All Progressive Congress and its embattled chairman Adams Oshiomhole took another twist at the weekend as the National Deputy Secretary of the party, Victor Gadom, insisted that Oshiomhole remains suspended. Now, according to him, a court of competent jurisdiction suspended the APC chair and the decision subsists. Now, also, the Director General of the APC Governors Forum, Salihu Lukman, has also asked the party National Working Committee to convene a National Executive Council meeting to appoint an acting national chairman for the party. I'll start with you, Silvanus. The National Working Committee now has been asked to convene a meeting so that an acting national chairman of APC is appointed. What would you say on this?
Yeah, that is the right thing to do because in party politics and in political party administration, it is not good for there to be a vacuum, especially when election is by the corner. We all know the election is coming up in Edo State this year. And it is good for the APC to have its acts together so that they can be able to go into that election squarely. And this also portends danger for Oshiomhole's ambition as the national chairman of the APC. This signals the end of an era. And I'm afraid Oshiomhole might not survive this political upheaval.
Okay, do you agree with his thought?
Completely, I do not agree with him. I do not agree with you because Oshiomhole is a fighter. I want to put it to you that Oshiomhole is a fighter. He has fought and he's ready to fight. Don't forget, Adams Oshiomhole defeated Goodluck Jonathan in 2015, an incumbent government, and brought this present administration, President Muhammadu Buhari. There is no way you would tell me that they are going to concoct or invite for an executive national committee to bring in somebody, and then you said it's the right thing to do. How many times have they held those kind of meetings before?
But the court of competent jurisdiction suspended the...
The same court of competent jurisdiction, Abuja, fire him, Kano, brought him back.
It's a lie. Let me quickly...
Now, I'll come back to you.
Correct that.
Silvanus, you are a lawyer.
First of all,
you are a lawyer, and then High Court sitting in Abuja suspended Oshiomhole, and another High Court in Kano upturned the suspension. These are two courts of coordinate jurisdiction. Now, as a lawyer, what is the implication?
Well, people misunderstood the judgment of the Kano High Court. The Kano High Court did not overrule the Abuja High Court judgment which suspended Oshiomhole, because the High Court does not have appellate jurisdiction over another High Court. You understand? And what the High Court in Abuja said was that Oshiomhole should step aside from the leadership of the party until the case of suspension is, he was suspended by his word, until that suspension is unraveled. While the Kano High Court did not even mention the Abuja High Court judgment. What they said was that the suspension of Oshiomhole by his word, not by the court, by his word, is vacated. That is, they quashed his suspension by his word, not his suspension by the court. So his suspension by the competent high court sitting in Jabi, Abuja, still subsists. Having established this premise, let me quickly correct the impression that Oshiomhole defeated Jonathan in 2015. Oshiomhole can never and was never in a position to defeat Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's government in 2015, as Oshiomhole was a mere governor in Edo State in 2015. The person who led APC admirably to victory was Oyegun, who was the national chairman of the APC. And we all saw Oyegun's personality. He had the demeanor, the integrity, the dignity, and the personality of a refined party administrator. He sought the advice, always converged with leaders of thoughts in the party, and he was for the best interest of every member of the party. And under Oyegun, no state was lost by the APC. But then, after the election, the plot to remove Oyegun, because he refused to kowtow to the biddings of some who call themselves the leader of the party, they orchestrated his removal and brought in the Iron Fist Oshiomhole, the undertaker of the APC, who has been doing nothing but disservice to the party, under whose leadership the party has lost Zamfara, a traditional state of the APC. A traditional state of the APC from 1999. The first governor of Zamfara state, Senator Ahmed Sani Yerima, the chairman Senate Committee of Marine Transport in the 80th Senate, was an APC, ANPP, a traditional party of the APC. But just in 2019, because of the high-handedness of Oshiomhole, because of his limited knowledge in party administration, because of his intolerance to dissenting views, Zamfara was lost to the People's Democratic Party for the first time in the history of that state.
Yeah, I'll come back to you. Now, Peggy, politicians in some quarters have said that the woes of the APC chair is simply because he's not a politician, that he still has that cap of a comrade and in the labor union then. Do you agree with this?
Well, I agree with you, because I agree with you to a degree, but I disagree with you on the other part.
So which part do you disagree?
I disagree with you when they say he is not a politician. He's still wearing a comradeship cap.
But if he's not a politician, what is he doing in politics?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Is that why he hasn't been able to carry along the dissenting views of his party members?
You need the combination of the two, and which makes you a super politician, because you're a comrade. You have fought for people. You remember when he was an LLC chairman, he fought. And I tell you the truth, he still speaks tough when he said, no man born of a woman can remove him as chairman.
But he has been suspended.
No, he hasn't suspended to where? Who? 12 governors are backing you?
He has been suspended.
He has retired. He has retired Bukola Saraki, the almighty Senate president. He has retired quite a number of of them in politics.
Well, irrespective of
Retired Sheikh Husani.
irrespective of who he has retired from politics.
Yes, you are talking about.
The status quo now is that he has been suspended from a court of competent jurisdiction, and as it is, the NWC want to convene a meeting to elect an acting national chairman.
With 12 governors backing him and other people
Let
backing
me
him.
quickly-
No, I'm not a lawyer, but hold on. I'm telling you that competent jurisdiction is not the issue of politics here. Let these competent jurisdiction issues be moved away from politics.
But everything should be done
And stop
constitutionally.
Constitutionally
The
so.
APC have a constitution.
The
And when you
politicians.
breach the constitution, you
Do you know what it means to have 12 governors backing you in the first place? Do you know what it means to one governor?
Let
Two,
me
three, four.
let me
let him learn. I'll get back to you.
12 governors backing you. He must have helped one or two people. So you said that Oyegun was the one who was the chairman of the party, grooming him.
He did.
Nobody. In
Oyegun
fact,
never
APC will lose.
I'll get back to you, please. Let him
APC will lose 2023 if they dare remove the personality in Adams Oshiomhole, because he's a man who has the oratory prowess. He commands personality as a party chairman talking. You lose that kind of a man because you call him, he's not a politician, he's a comrade, or you say a court in Jabi, sack him. There are more courts in Nigeria, Kano, Lagos, anywhere, they will bring it back. But who, I don't want to say that.
But that was the case on appeal.
Appeal, that's why there's even a Supreme Court. Have they not been going to Supreme Court?
Okay.
He has
You want to
Don't forget, don't
Yeah.
forget that Mr. President loves Adams Oshiomhole.
Okay.
But so far, the crisis rocking the
president is not aware.
The president, what would you say?
He is not aware. As soon as the thing enters the president, the villa, all this court is doing this, court is doing that. President will say, shut up, everything's finished.
Now, you respond to the fact that he said that the president, who
He's
is
not
the
aware.
leader of the party, is not aware of the crisis.
No,
rocking his
no,
own
that
party.
is not the position. Oshiomhole himself, in a bid to save himself from this crisis, from this water low, he went to the president at the Aso Rock Villa and discussed his travels with the president. After which he lamented that he was not sure if the president is on his side in this moment of trouble. But let me quickly correct the impression that a president can save a national chairman of the national chairman of a party who has been plotted to be removed by the governors of the party. It doesn't happen in the history of Nigeria. Politics is from the grassroots. And who are those who command, who control these grassroots? They are the governors. You will recall when Dr. Okwesili Nwodo was the national chairman of the PDP. He had the same running battles with the then governor of Enugu State, Governor Sullivan Ihana Chochime. Even though the regime was with him, he was still removed because the governors are too powerful for a president to counter their opinion in party affairs. That is the standard procedure in Nigeria. Aside that of Okwesili Nwodo, we still have another case. A locus classicus of governors removing a sitting national chairman of the party in Bamanga Toko of Adamawa State. Bamanga Toko was one of the G34 members who sat with Wilberforce Jota, with Sunday Awoniyi and others to form the PDP. But because the governors of the party were dissatisfied with his style of leadership, he was removed. And because the then president, Goodluck Jonathan, did not remove him early because of the love he had for him, it cost the PDP the 2015 election. Because at the national convention of the PDP in Eagle Square, we saw 7 governors on the platform of the party led by Abubakar Kawu Baraje former national chairman of the PDP, walk out of the convention and form the parallel convention at the Shehu Yaradua Center. And this was the nucleus of the crisis that removed the PDP from power in 2015. And this same fate is bound to befall the APC. If the presidency does not quickly remove him to bring sanity to the party, because a political party must not drive the interest of a select few. A political party must be an umbrella where thousands of interests are accommodated. And Oshiomhole does not have the credentials to do this. Look at what he's doing in Edo State, where he is fighting the governor tooth and nail to ensure that he is removed as he doesn't come back for second tenure. On what grounds? The people like the governor. And Oshiomhole has the character of not allowing level playing ground for aspirants to contest, to jostle for party tickets. And this is the fear of people, that in 2023, Oshiomhole as a national chairman will surrender an automatic ticket to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I stand to be corrected. But this is the position of people. And even if Oshiomhole is being supported by thousands of governors, the governors fighting him are the strongest. The chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum, is not with him. And you know the powers of the chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum. Powerful governors who have the ears of the presidents like El-Rufai are not with him. And that is why it was easy for the Nigerian Governors Forum DG, Saliu Lukman, to call for his replacement. And he does not also command the support of the National Working Committee, an organ of the party that is bestowed with the power of appointing a national acting chairman. That was why a deputy national chairman of the party in Northeast, a member of the National Working Committee, went to court, told the court to suspend Oshiomhole. If he was commanding their support,
we'll have to go on a short break now. When we continue, Press Talk continues. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Press Talk on Television Nigeria. Now we'll be moving to our next issue of the day. Now, Bishop David Oyedepo of the Living Faith Church, which is Winners Chapel, has described the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari as the worst in the history of Nigeria. Now, the clergy said that he said this while delivering a sermon during a second service of the church at the Faith Tabernacle at Ogun State. Now, Sylvanus, with what is going on in the country, does it justify the statement made by the Living Faith bishop?
Yes. I think as a Nigerian who have this inalienable right of expression, he has the powers to raise objections whenever he feels that things are not going the right way. While we will always encourage the presidency and admit that he's doing a lot to save this country from the barrage of crisis and insecurity that is bedeviling us at this current state in our nation. We will also advise that the president do more, particularly as it regards insecurity. The killings are too much and people are being frustrated. So we encourage the presidency. We know that a lot is being done to curb this insecurity, but we want him to do more, because the primary purpose of every government, as established by our ground norm, the Constitution, is the protection of lives and properties of the citizens. That is the primary purpose of government. And without this protection of lives and properties of the citizen, a government will be said to have failed.
No, thank you. Now, Mr. Peggy.
Yes.
I'm looking at Nigerians in some quarters have said, why should men of God be involved in politics? Because now the bishop is now criticizing the government. Or is it right for men of God to get themselves involved in politics and be making very strong criticism?
Oh yes. Absolutely very correct. I'm a Christian. I go to church and I read the Bible. The scripture says, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. Yes.
Whose soldiers now are you talking about?
Jesus. The Bible says, and the government, unto us a son is born, unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. Oyedepo is preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, and the government has become on the shoulders. And so the spirituality, the divinity, the eschatology coming to talk about what the word, the existentiology, the existence of man and everything that exists, has to follow the scriptures. If the man of God saw spiritually that there's something wrong, you can't question him. He wants to help the president to perform better.
But I mean, Oyedepo is disagreeing with the governance of President Muhammadu Buhari, whereas there are some men of God too who have agreed and then have said that the president is doing well. How do you balance this?
Many are called, but few are chosen. Some men of God know the power of the villa. So if they send you money into your account, you will support whatever is there.
So if money, like you've said,
Oyedepo has his own money.
Like you have alleged, if money is sent to Oyedepo now, is he going to keep quiet?
No, Oyedepo has his own money. He doesn't need the money from the president. So you also have to be checking those kind of pastors who also support things because of the kind of fat monies that enters into their account by way of supporting. Can't you see, in the last government, they paid how much? Is it 4.5 billion to go and pray, just to pray for Goodluck Jonathan to win again? You think it is a joke that people who are spiritual are praying for something? Mbaka will just prophesy now. Anything can just change. Spirituality, because you are a human specimen with a soul and body. Spirit is the one in you that is keeping the soul and the body. We are more spiritual. Once the spirit leaves you, you are gone. All that is left is just the body, and that's carcass. Take note of spiritual promulgations. Once they're spoken, they come out fire.
So how do we?
Bishop Kuka is speaking his own there.
So how do we know this spiritual truth you're talking about? How do we know which one is correct and which one is true and which one is false?
You know very well that God has his breath in you and has given you the spirit to discern. If you also have a problem of discernment to know which one is which, then you too have a spiritual problem. So all spiritual problems littered all over places is what we need to learn to know which is which. Anybody can be a man of God. And for that man of God to dare the president, TB Joshua once said, he walked up to Abacha, he was the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He said, sir, you are going to die. Abacha ordered that TB Joshua to be arrested. They arrested him, the man died. And still he came out. He called Al-Mustafa and said, young man, you are going to be arrested, put into incarceration for a very long time. But after a period, you're going to be released. These are spiritual prophetic offerings. You don't joke with them. I don't question that. I'm a lover of Buhari and I support him. Oyedepo is speaking to him that is the worst or whatever. I can't question it. But the president will take heed and listen. And when it changes, all that we're talking about here will just be effective. That's all.
Yeah, Mr. Savanis, your parting words to be winding up the program.
I think I would leave the stage by advising the APC to be wary of Oshiomhole. He has done a lot in destabilizing the party. And his continued stay as national chairman of the APC might rob the party its chances in 2020.
That's not true.
Oshiomhole should leave the stage. I will advise him as a comrade of status, a comrade of international recognition, who led the Nigerian Labour Congress admirably. He should exit the stage now that the ovation is loudest.
Thank you very much. That's the much we can take on Press Talk today. It has been Sylvanus Okwe. Thank you very much for coming in the program. And Peggy Shandy.
Thank you.
So you join us tomorrow for another edition of Press Talk. I am Samuel Akwand.